Hey, people. A very good evening to you, depending on where you're joining it from. As usual, I'm so excited to welcome you to another exciting episode of the Friday Night Hangout. My name is Joy Onyeso, your host, and I always love to know how your week has been. So don't forget to use the comment section. I need to know how you're doing. How has the week been for you? And today in particular, how has today been? Right? I know there's a lot happening, especially if you're living in Nigeria. Oh my goodness. There's always one thing or the other every day. So there's always time to thank God for the opportunities you have. And life always presents with choices. You can decide to make the most out of it, or you can decide to grumble, to stay put, and not to give life your best foot forward. But today we're going to be talking about something very interesting as usual. We're going to be talking about rising above distraction. Did I hear you say, wow? Yes. And this is very apt because the season we're in right now, there's a lot of buzz, either from the family, on social media, in the workspace. There's a whole lot. I want you to just take a moment and reflect. For those of us who started the year with resolutions or with vision boards, some of us set out our goals for the year. This is June, counting. How far have you gone with the goals that you have? Yeah, I'm asking you to reflect on that. For some of us, it may surprise you to see that most of the things you put out, you haven't even done anything about it. But you've been busy, you've been doing a whole lot of things that are not even in your priority list for 2024. And that's why we're having this conversation tonight, rising above distractions. Now, distraction is very subjective, I must put that out. Because what may be a distraction to me may be a welcome opportunity to the next person. So, the key thing here is identifying what your distraction is. What are your distractions? Now, distraction will be anything that takes you away from your set goals, takes you away from moving in the direction you have identified you want to travel on. So, anything that makes you to lose focus on your lane, makes you to start comparing, makes you to lose steam, makes you to feel overwhelmed, or in fact, sometimes you just throw in the towel. And in our climb today, there are different things for different people that could make us lose distraction. So, one of the things we want to do today is to look at some of the strategies for helping you to rise above distraction. And then also nudging you gently to start looking at things that keep you distracted. Maybe you haven't thought about it, but it's important to start thinking about the things that take you away from your priority. What are the things that make you lose focus for the day? It builds up. It builds up. I recollect that I was already on a journey. I had kickstarted my exercise regimen, and that was, I think, that was first week of February. And then I lost my dad 2 weeks into February, right? And it was like, oh, just leave everything. I just kept aside everything else I had planned to do and focus on other things that would distract me from the pain. So you need to understand how distraction is situated in your situation. Sometimes distraction for some people may be welcomed, and that's why I said it is subjective. But you need to understand when something, someone, someplace is making you lose focus, making you not to achieve your desired objective, making you not to reach your desired height, then it becomes time for you to do something about it. I'm going to pause right now. Since I was saying network beacon, I know we'll be having network challenges, but don't not to worry. You can always watch the replay, and but just stay tuned. Remember, we talked about resilience. It will get better. What are you going to expect today? Aside the fact that we're going to talk about the strategies for keeping you going, for helping you to rise above distraction. We're also going to be talking about our upcoming She Speaks Summit 2024. Yay! Who is excited? I am excited because the summit will be happening from the 28th to the 29th of June. 20, which is in less than 2 weeks, by the way. And then we have an exclusive business clinic for our VIP participants on the 27th of June 2024. We are also happy and proud that this year we have some partners, sponsors, who have made it possible for us to give some of the discounted and free tickets we've been giving out on the Friday night hangout. So for some of those tickets you've received right here on this show, it's possible because of these are amazing partners. And during the course of this show, we're going to be unveiling our partners, so you know who our partners for the 2024 She Speaks Summits are. Is our own way of saying thank you to them for supporting us, for making it possible for more women to attend the She Speaks Summit. Okay, before we get down to that bit, I also want you not to forget to use your comment section. If you have questions that you want us to take on this show, please put it in the comment section. And you know that even after the show, when I see your questions, I still respond to them. Welcome, Confidence, and for every other person, welcome. My apologies if I'm not calling your name. You know how it is. OZBK, welcome. Easter Queen, welcome, welcome. Nice to have you on the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, Vivian Okorie. Nice to have you here. Welcome. And so the conversation is still on. We're talking about rising above distractions. So I want you to take out some time, just reflect on your individual circumstances. What makes you to be distracted? When you set out a goal, what are some of the challenges you have in achieving those goals? Hey, Vanessa, welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Now, we have some strategies. It's not a one cap size fits all, but I will always say these are just nuggets that you can adapt. Excuse me, you can adapt them. You can also, it also helps you to think on ways of managing your distractions. It's very important that as you go on your life journey, you have your strategy in place. So if I get distracted, what do I do? If you do not, you will find out that you keep setting goals, you keep setting goals, setting goals, setting goals, and then you cannot achieve the goals. So we are moving away from just goal setting. I always like to talk about goal setting and goal achieving. So you need to achieve the goals that you've set, right? And that is where you can say, oh, you are focused. So when we say too focused to give up, we can also say too focused to be distracted. It takes a lot of focus for you not to be distracted by things happening around. Now, you also know that your emotions can also be a distraction. This is where emotional intelligence comes to play. You see, there are days you wake up, and that is not because there's anything wrong with you. It is just you being human. It happens to me too. You know, you wake up some days and you don't feel like even standing up from the bed. You don't feel like getting up. You just feel like staying right under the bed and covering yourself up. And that's valid. But when you understand your why, when you understand why you're on this journey, why it is important to you, you would rise above that distracting emotions. Sometimes anger can be a distraction. So you know you have something to achieve, somebody triggers you, you get angry, and you lose focus completely. The anger becomes a distraction. So, how do you deal with anger? Anger management. Sometimes sadness can be a distraction. You're so sad that you feel drained and exhausted and you cannot do the needful. So, what motivates you? What can help you kick out of that sad mood? You need to think about all of these things. So, if when we start talking about growth, we start talking about one achieving one set objectives, all these things are things that you need to think through and then have some plan for, you know, um, meeting up with the situations when they happen. Now, I also do know that no matter how well prepared you are, life will happen. So it's okay when, despite the plan you have, you find yourself going under. The key thing is recognizing what is happening to you, acknowledging the emotions, and giving yourself the permission to feel it and to rise up from it. That is very critical. So feeling it is not the problem. The key thing is, what do you do with what you're feeling? How do you handle it? And this is where emotional intelligence comes into play. You need to have a high sense of yourself. You need to understand yourself, self awareness. How do you deal with yourself? Some of us are afraid to have relationships with ourselves. It's difficult for you to rise above distraction if you do not have a strong relationship with yourself. A number of things happened to me today that would have made it almost impossible for me to be seated here this evening and having this conversation. But because I know what this means to me, I keep saying to myself, even if it's just for one person, I need to show up. Even if it's just for one person that will be here. See, you never know. Your life is an assignment. You've been set on an assignment because you're living a life of purpose, and you've been set on an assignment to serve certain persons. So when you do not show up, there is a gap. And certain people's dream or goals will not be achieved because of your absence. But you know what? Nature abhors gap. So when you keep absenting yourself from a space that you have been prepared for, nature will fill in that space. Right? Vacuum. You can't, nature cannot operate on a vacuum. So it's very important really to have a high sense of awareness of yourself, of your emotions, and know how to deal with it. It's also very important to identify your distraction. I like to give you assignments, yeah? So one of the things I would ask you to do tonight is, can you just look at around you? What are some of the things that distract you? Remember, it's not just emotion. It could be place, it could be people, it could be emotions, it could be situations. So why don't you take out time to just list and just list them out? Don't allow yourself to think on the surface. Think deep. What are some of the things? Reflect on situations that happened in the past. Some of the goals, and you can even think about just from January even till date. All the goals you said you will achieve, what has happened? Why are you not moving forward with them? It's so easy to give excuses. There's this prayer watch I'm having with some of my sisters, and one of the things we talked about, I think it was today or yesterday, we talked about distraction. You know, it's so easy to give excuses. When things happen, the easiest route is to say, oh, it's because of this person, it's because of this thing, it's because of that thing, it did not happen. This is where self-discipline comes into place, right? Now, I'm going to share with you some of the strategies you can employ to manage your distraction, because whether you like it or not, distraction abounds everywhere. People, place, it's just everywhere because that's how life is. Not everyone is on the same journey with you. And so when you are hanging around people or you're in a place that is not aligned with your life's journey, of course it has the propensity of distracting you. But that is not to say it's bad. That is distracting you doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that perhaps at that point in time, it's not what you need, right? Or sometimes maybe what you need, but you just need to balance how you engage so that it doesn't distract you from your goals or your set objectives. So the first thing I would say is start off with identifying what your distractions are. Start up with it. You may not know all of it, but like I said, you always get to know yourself. So with the much you know about yourself, you can just list out some of the things that distract you and why they distract you. We're going to come back very soon and take the other distraction points. We're getting set to unveil our partners for the She Speaks Summit 2024. You want to know who our She Speaks 2024 partners are, and you're going to see them very soon. I just want you to, as they are coming up, on your screen, I just want you to help me appreciate them. If you're led to say a word of prayer for them, if you're led, and all of them have amazing, amazing products that they give out, which women can, profit from. We're going to be talking about some of the products they have. We have 3 partner sponsors for the She Speaks Summit 2024. Who is excited? I'm excited because we've been able to give out discounted and free tickets to some fresh graduates, to some students, and also to some women who need to be in that space. So I just want to say thank you, amazing thank you to our 3 partners. And we couldn't have done this much without you. So we want to appreciate you so much for what you have done. I will start off in no particular order to talk about Copas International. Thank you so much for supporting the She Speaks Summit 2024. Now, Cooper's Company International is into the building sector. You want to have beautiful tiles. Materials we use in creating the studio, we got over 90% from Cooper's International. So you want to get, we call them KIC, that's the acronym for their name. So you want to get beautiful tiles. You even want them to consult for you. Sometimes you're so busy. If you're like me, you might not have the time to go through all what they have. You have an idea, they can help you bring it to life and tell you, okay, this is the time you need to use, this is the material you need for your POP and all that. So I just want to really appreciate them for supporting our women, supporting our women to come into the She Speaks Summit 2024. And you know what? They are also going to be on ground on the She Speaks Summit 2024. So come prepared, right? If you have questions on your interior, in particular your POP, your tiles, your screening, they're right there to, we love beautiful environment. So they're right there to provide it for you. And then we also want to appreciate the Message Limited. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making it happen for us. They're into advertisements, media. So if you want to have conversations around how you can manage a social media platform, you want to know how to use the traditional media, you want to get expert advice on how your business can be branded and all of that. How do you make your brand stand out? Then you want to talk to the Message Limited. So thank you so much, the Message, for coming through for us at the She Speaks Summit 2024. And then we want to thank Mavico Foods. Thank you so much, Mavico Foods. We do not take this for granted at all. And Mavico Foods is all about healthy, organic foods, and they bring it right to your doorstep. And so you want healthy food, spices, cereal, honey, oil, just think about it. They have you covered. So this is our own opportunity of saying thank you so much to our three amazing partner sponsors for supporting us this She Speaks Summit 2024. Thank you so much for the sponsorship. It's making a difference, and we really appreciate you and hope that this can be a sustained partnership. Okay, so we promised we're going to unveil them tonight, and then we've done that. And I hope that I see so much. Ozima say, thank you so much, Copas, for the sponsorship. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we come back right again to our conversation on the strategies for managing distraction, for rising above distraction. And the first thing I said is identify your distraction. You can't live in denial. If you can't identify it, if you don't understand the root cause, it's difficult to deal with it. So you identify things, people, places that makes you to be distracted, and then you note how, when, where. Sometimes it could be when you're feeling in certain ways, it becomes easier for certain kind of people to get you distracted from your goals. So you want to really identify. I love talking about keeping a journal. It's really very good to keep a journal because keeping a journal helps you to see patterns. If you're journaling your everyday, your day-to-day activities, how you feel and all of that, it's so easy for you to look at the patterns you really create and how you go through life with patterns, and it can help you to break through some patterns and create some healthy ones. It's also important to have an accountability partner, someone you can discuss your goal with. When you don't share what you want to do, for some of us, the accountability partner becomes very critical. When you share with them, they hold you accountable. When you're feeling low, you can say, hey sis, hey bro, I know I said I would do this, but this is what is happening. And the person will encourage you, inspire you to keep on the track. The person will not take your excuses, right? The person will make sure that your excuses will not hold waters and keep you right on track. So we've talked about identifying. We've also talked about journaling. We've talked about accountability partner, and also break your goals into small task. Sometimes we think we're superhuman. You want to do everything at the same time. Now, when you set very high, it's not wrong to set, or it's not wrong at all to set high, targets and all of that. But it's more achievable when you break them into little tasks. By the time you accomplish one, your confidence level increases, you are proud of yourself, you are energized to do the next one. But when you set such big, big, big goals that some of us do, you want to start from zero and you want to do 100 in 2 days. And sometimes we say, oh, I want to finish writing this book in 1 month. Hello? Is it only book writing you'll be doing for 1 month? With all the activities you have, maybe you're married, you have children, you're working, so many things. And then is it realistic? So when you're not able to achieve it, you now start, pushing it out. It becomes a distraction to you. You feel that you've not achieved enough and it becomes difficult. But if you say, you know what, every day I'm going to spend 2 hours, 1 hour writing maybe 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, it becomes easier for you to attain. So remember, break down the goals into smaller tasks for you to do. When you break them down into smaller tasks, it becomes more achievable, right? So we've talked about how many things that we've talked about identifying distraction, we've talked about journaling, we've talked about breaking down your goals into smaller tasks, we've talked about keeping an accountability partner, right? These are very critical things. And then the next thing you need to do is also to invest in yourself. What do I mean by investing in yourself? Invest in building your emotional intelligence, because you need to learn how to manage your emotions. You need to learn how to manage the emotions of others so that you don't allow other people's feelings to distract you or your feelings to distract yourself. Eh, um, Managing distraction is a skill. It requires patience, it requires time, it requires perseverance, it requires resilience. So it's not something that you just wake up and then you get it done, bam, bam, bam. No, it's a process. And the more you go at it, the more focused you are, rising above distraction, at, taking taking time to practice some of these skill sets, you get yourself more, you get your skills more improved in rising above those distractions. Now, even for the social media, it could be a distraction for some of us, right? You just say, oh, I want to make a post, and then you spend 2 hours, 3 hours on the social media. So what has worked for me really is setting my time frame. I say, okay, I'm going to go online 7:30. I'm going to do it for 30 minutes. And you know what? I use a timer. I use a timer. So I just put my timer. Once it goes off, I know I'm done. So I put it in little bits. Know when you want to check your emails. Know when you want to check your WhatsApp messages. I was having a conversation with some sisters and I was telling them that my phone never rings. For the last 8 years, you can't hear my phone ringing. Why? I said to take control of my phone. So I know when I check my phone, I have control. I call back, right? I would return the calls. So, otherwise you find yourself, you have important things to do, you're just answering for, and then you get distracted by some of the things you may get from the phone calls. I have a policy, when I'm doing something very important, I have some things to accomplish. I will not reach out to anybody on WhatsApp or phone for some hours of the morning. So know when you're most productive. I'm most productive early hours of the morning and very late at night. And so when I'm in those my productive phases, I just blank out, I create boundaries. So also learn how to create boundaries. Don't let anybody project on you. And know that you're not in competition with anybody. You have nothing to prove, you have nothing to defend, you have nothing to hide. Walk at your pace. The idea is living life in a way that is sustainable. We're talking about consistency. So for you to be consistent, you must have a style that matches your personality, right? So you don't want to adopt something because, oh, you see Joy doing this or you see Ngozi or Ruth doing that. You want to that. People have personality and everyone has a style of talking, a style of laughing, a style of walking, eating. So the key thing is know yourself and find out the style that works for you. But remember, we want us to be what? Consistent in what we do. Yeah, you just want to be consistent in what you do. I've given us a lot of nuggets today. Now it's up to you to do something with it. Knowledge gained and not applied is wasted. And one of the things I tell you we do on the Friday night hangout is to push you to think about those difficult you think about And then you have those difficult conversations with yourself. How can you improve, even in your business? So this is not just about personal growth, but also about your business growth. You find some people today they are selling fried yam and akara. Tomorrow they are selling clothes. Next tomorrow they are selling bags and shoes. They are not consistent. They are always distracted with what someone else is saying about the business. Before you go into any line of business, it is very important that you take time to study the business. I was having a conversation um, with one of my sisters this evening, and we're talking about the Friday night hangout at our studio. I said, from the moment I started the Friday night hangout in May 2020, I knew that somewhere along the line, we're going to end up having our own studio. And so consistently, I was building knowledge, I was building capacity, I was building all of that. I did not allow myself to be distracted from the end game. And today, we have our own beautiful studio, and we're so excited and proud about the studio. Hey. So that's it. You know, you get your wins, and you can pat yourself and say, hey, girl, hey, guy, you did very well. So you set your milestones, set what I call your key performance indicator. Don't allow the grammar to distract you. That's another thing. So what you want to do is actually to say, how do I know that I'm growing? There has to be something you're able to measure. How do I know that I'm not being distracted? You need to have something able to measure. Oh, I'm able to complete this task at so time. I'm able to have achieved this. I'm able to have done this. And then you look through what you said you want to do. Were you able to do it? Another thing I want to say finally on this distraction is please don't overload yourself with priorities. You want so what's your priorities? Well, some of us just have to-do list. I see the to-do list. You have about 30 things you want to do in a day. Hello. How can that be possible? Now, even though we have 24 hours in a day, you will have at least between 5 to 8 hours for productive activities. And then for some people it's less. It's about 3 to 4 hours. Then other ones you do some administrative things, you do some other things. How can that then be possible when you now put in 30 things, 20 things? So everything cannot be a priority. Everything cannot be a priority. So for me, when I list out the activities I want to do for a day, I have two, maximum three priorities for that day. So once I'm able to achieve these three, I'll say, girl, you're good. So you need to really sit down and reprogram yourself. Very soon we're going to come, into another season, and that is the second half of 2024. It's never too late to start afresh. This is the time for you to really look at what you've done from January to June, the first half of 2024, business wise, in your personal space. What have you done? What have you been able to achieve? And then you sit down and re-strategize and now reprogram yourself for the next half of 2024. Before you know it, we'll start hearing Merry Christmas. Ding, da, 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 da. That's what you start hearing in the air. So don't deceive yourself. Don't compromise on your goals. Don't compromise on your results. There's a whole lot that you can achieve. I see a whole lot of you here. I see Ruka. I see Mr. Shola and a whole lot of you. Thank you so much for joining in. Welcome to Friday Night Hangout. And if you're just joining in, the conversation has been on rising above distraction. We talked about why it's important to understand what distraction means to you, because distraction is subjective. We also talked about some of the strategies for rising above distraction. Ife Diba blessing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we have a number of nuggets we put out here tonight. And if you're just coming in now, not to worry, we got you. You can always watch the replay of this episode. And this is our 184th episode. I'm excited because we've been consistent from May 2020. Here we are in June 2024. It's taken a lot. It's not been easy. And like I shared with us today, there's a lot that happened, a whole lot happened today that would have made it almost impossible for me to be seated here this evening. But I understood what the assignment for myself is today. And one of it is to show up, this evening at the Friday Night Hangout live. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. And also, I agree with you. No do pass yourself. Some of us, they do pass ourselves. So don't do pass yourself at all. Take it easy. You're not in competition with anyone at all. Now, when you get up that mindset of being in competition with people, you will now focus on doing what you need to do. You're not competing with anyone. And listen, you just want to grow in your journey of becoming, to be the best version of yourself, for your business to be the best version of itself, and not because you are in direct competition with anyone, or you want to run anyone out, or you want to pepper them gang thing. That is not a healthy way to live. That by itself, unhealthy competition is a distraction. And so that's why I say it's subjective. Find out what distraction is to you and use some of these strategies we put out today to help yourself. I hope you got value from conversation tonight. Thank you so much for joining in. It's always a pleasure, and just to have you here. Thank you. Without you, there'll be no Friday night hangout. And make it a time out with us next week, Friday. The conversation continues. This is my birth month, June, so I'm excited. 22nd June is my birthday. I'm so excited. And come 21st June, we're going to be having a community outreach program, 19th actually, and 21st, in celebration of my birthday. So say a word of prayer for me wherever you are, and please make sure you join us next week, Friday. And until we see you next week, Friday, for me and my team, is bye for now. Stay blessed. Enjoy your weekend. Make sure you make out time to smell the roses and be kind to yourself. Bye for now. See you.